Hi, this is your math coach, Howie Tutman, presenting What Math Should My First Grader Know? I've recorded videos in the four domains or groupings of standards in math for first grade. This video is the sixth of 10 videos in the Operations and Algebraic Thinking grouping. The video is about relating counting to addition and subtraction. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at hrtutman@gmail.com. The complete text of the standard that this video is based upon follows at the end of the video. This is the first of two standards in which the first graders will add and subtract within 20. So in this first standard, the students will need to relate counting to addition and subtraction. So just to go back a little bit, let's say we have the problem of 6 plus 2. And let's take 6 red counters. And what a student may do is they may count, if they have these counters, they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as far as blue counters, they see 1, 2. And what the first graders may do is to get the total, they will count all of them. So even though they know there's 6 red and 2 blue, to get the total, they will count them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And counting is how the first graders are making sense of this addition. They're counting them all. But the next progression that the students will have is they will see that there's 6 red. What we want our students to know is when they count a set of objects, when they count that final item in the set, that represents the total. So eventually, your students will realize that when they count these 6 red counters, they have a total of 6. So when they want to count all of the red and all of the blue, they simply can start with the number 6 and then count on. So it would be 6, 7, 8. If this problem was 2 plus 6, some of the first graders might start with 2 and then they would count up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But as they advance, they will realize that it'll be much easier for them to start with the larger addend. In other words, the addends are these two numbers that are adding up to a certain sum. So they start with a larger number. It'll be much easier then. It'll be much more efficient to get to the total or to get to the sum. And this represents the commutative property of addition, which we had addressed in a previous standard. We're not expecting the students to know that name, but just the understanding of the property that in addition, they can switch these addends around and it doesn't make a difference the order in which they add them. So we need to get to the point where the first graders are trusting the count. In other words, if they were to look at one of their hands and they could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they have 5 fingers. But it shouldn't be necessary for them to keep looking at their hand to know that there's 5 fingers on their hand. So the same thing, for instance, if the problem is 5 plus 2, a student shouldn't have to take a number of objects and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the beginning, they may have to. They may have to take out some concrete blocks or draw pictures, but eventually we want them to understand that if they're counting these 5 fingers, that represents the total of 5. That's not going to change. So in this problem here of 5 plus 2, we start with the 5, and when we add 2, we're counting on 2. 5, 6, 7. So that will be the sum of this problem. Likewise, when we're subtracting, that is also like we're counting, but in this case here, we'd be counting down. So in the example of 9 minus 2, in this subtraction problem, we would be starting with 9, and I've shown a number line here. So if we look at it on a number line, we start with 9, and we're going to subtract 2, or we're going to count down 2. So when we count down 2, we go from 9 to 8 to 7. So 9 minus 2 would be equal to 7. Since this standard deals with adding and subtracting within 20, I have a different example here, starting with a little larger number, so 17 minus 2. But the same thing, if a student needed to use a number line, they could be starting at 17, showing that we're going to be subtracting 2. So they can be counting 1, 2. So they're going from 17 to 16 to 15. And if they weren't using the number line, but they still needed some sort of drawing to help them, once again, 17, they trust that count. That's what they're starting with. And with these 2 dots here, that would be representing the 2 that they need to be subtracting. So they're going to start at 17, 16, 15. And that would be the difference of 17 minus 2, or the answer to this subtraction problem. And here's one last addition problem within 20. So 16 plus 3. So one of my addends, 16. The other addend is 3. And we're looking to find the sum or the total. And here I have our counters within 10 frames. And just as an aside, we want to make sure that our students, once they see counters filling up an entire 10 frame, that would represent 10. Obviously, there'd be no need for them to count each one. And when one row of the 10 frame is filled, we'd like for our first graders to know that that is 5, because 5 plus another 5 would be 10. So here we have 5, 10, 15, plus one more is 16. So there's no need to count. We have 16 counters. We want them to trust that count of 16. And now we're looking to add 3 more. So we are not going to count all, but we're going to count on from 16. And if they need to have this drawing of the dots to help them, they can count on from 16. And it would be 17, 18, 19. And same thing, if I put these blue counters into our 10 frame, we have 16 reds, the 3 blues, and we would have a total of 19. If you're interested, here is the complete standard that this video relating counting to addition and subtraction is based upon. Relate counting to addition and subtraction. For example, by counting on 2 to add 2.